Greeting! It's Moaz again at ArchiCAD Training at Facebook. Today we're going to talk about the internal rendering or interior rendering, whatever. So we're going to go and use our plan here to see our set. Again, as we talked in the previous video, I just give like a bold emphasis about the camera. So I created a camera here. It's like a simple scene. We have those three or like the all the furniture here except for this one here is from the internet. I just did the regular. I press Control T. I just did regular search. I got this 3DMD whatever kind of like furniture, and it was like having a lot of here a lot of issues, so we can just like make a view of them. And then I chosen, I think this one I believe, and then from another source just choose the coffee table and those like small things here, and then distribute them here in this area and like those two and this one here. Okay, so it should look like if you go to the internal camera this way. What I've done here, or like what are the steps that I went through, so I can just like build like step by step successful render photo here are the following. So first of all, let me just get back to the Control plus R, Control Alt plus R to get to this photo rendering setting, and let's see how this one should be in order to like do our due diligence rendering, like quality rendering, and see how we can optimize that like step by step. First here, I mean the internal renders is gonna have like a lot more time than the exterior or external renderings, and this is because of the global calculations or global illumination calculations that's gonna perform by CineRender. So actually we have to like pay attention here that I've just created like one of those, it's called here like preview. So I have those two. One is called like fast and one is called very fast. The very fast is gonna take like nothing. It's gonna be very fast rendering process, but the quality is gonna be like awful. Actually, I'm not intending to produce my final rendering here using this one or like this method. However, I first have to like build and configure the lighting that I'm having here, like step by step. And in order to do that, I have to like see how my settings are going to be. So that's why, I mean, let me just give you a little bit of like a little bit of overview on how like the for this one it took only 44 settings. In this one I was able to just see that my lighting is gonna be coming over at this angle and it's gonna like distribute over here like it's and in addition to that, I mean, I'm gonna having this fine floor with those materials. Good reflections are here. Forget about the ceiling for the moment. I mean, it was like lit up perfectly, and this is because like one of those issues that I'm gonna like talk about in a bit. So so far so good. Let me just give you a little bit of an overview how long this rendering is gonna take me to do. if I'm not using the very fast preview method that I've just created earlier. I can let's jump just to the fast. Okay, I have the very fast, I have the fast. Let's just like try the fast one and see how much difference and like time wise it's gonna be between both images. Okay, so we can see here that it's almost done, but I mean, like it took like 3 minutes or like 2 minutes and 50 seconds in order to get this preview, comparing to like 44 seconds for the first one. However, the quality is like very, I mean, like in terms of lighting, it's very substantial between both images. So we can see here that, of course, like please don't ask me why this one is like still rendering, even though it's just ready and I can just save it. It's go ahead and ask Graphics out about that. I mean, however, I don't know what's the software is like doing for the moment. However, like one of the cool things that we can just see over here is that if we get like the task manager here and see the how much CineRender is like consuming out of the processor, it's gonna be like very funny value. It's not gonna go like beyond 90% all in all. I mean, you can see here. Well, you know, now it's like downgraded because it's not doing anything. I don't know what's doing here. While it's still like show me that it's rendering that image. However, I mean, like when it's rendering or doing the real render, it's not gonna go beyond 90%. What does that mean? Is that like we are like guys who working with BIM, we can just let ArchiCAD like go ahead and do the rendering, while we can just like go ahead to the plan or any other view or like schedules or whatever. We can just like modify or even 3D, by the way, and go ahead and do our like modifications in it for those other views in the software. So yeah, this is like what we can do. Let's get back to the image. Of course, you're gonna say like, why are those splotches here and there and here? I don't care about them at the moment. This is not what I'm looking for in the image. I just need to know how my light was gonna be. Are those areas are lighted up? Are those areas are good? So for me, I mean, in terms of lighting, this is really great image. I mean, the way it's lit up by just so far, because I don't care about the materials. I don't care about the details. Those will be done and will be modified and taken care of when I'm gonna go to switch between the preview. So let me just like see the preview, and when we go up like to like sophisticated, more sophisticated rendering settings, like those three that I have here right now. So for the moment, let me just like go and in order to just like gain some time, let me just let the medium settings here, let me just see what they are, so I can just like have a look how our like final settings could be seen. Well, you can see me. You can see here like I'm using the sunlight. Okay, it's like 100% illuminating surfaces, which are like 100%, 150% as well. And then the shadow casting, I mean, there's nothing here to worry about. We can just go to the environment. I just did use the HDRI sky. We can just go and use the other one here if you don't want. We can just like do the physical sky. Oh, it seems like I don't have a physical sky. Well, I think I just did the HDRI because I think in interior we can use the light that comes from the outside to just like give lit like more illumination for the surfaces inside the space I'm trying to render here. So that's why I think I did not do any one. However, it's going to be very easy to do one of your own by just like go ahead to the select and manage scenes, and then my interior views, HDRI medium. Okay, I'm gonna just apply this one here real quick, and then I'm gonna go to the environment. I'm gonna just say, with instead of HDRI, let's go for physical sky. And in the physical sky, I don't think I'm gonna have something here. The sun, I mean, this is the one that we have to take care of. Use warm colors, and the one I like to point to is, okay, it's not, I just wanted to physical sky using the yeah, here, use ArchiCAD sun position. So all the other like tiny details about the sun and how it's where it's going to be positioned was like the azimuth, except for the azimuth. I think it could be just like managed at that point. So when we are done from this one here, let me get back to the original one with the light lamps. And okay, so let me just check or double check the physical camera rendering setting. Sorry, the physical camera here. This is taking like a lot of lights, so we can, I think I'm gonna leave it the way it is just for the moment. I can increase or decrease the shutter speed in order to like minimize the light that comes out from the, or comes in to the camera sensitive film. So I'm gonna just keep it that way for the moment. After we're done from that, we can go ahead and store scene as, I'm gonna choose this one here, which is the medium HDRI, but I'm gonna replace the name by saying here physical sky. So physical sky. Okay, so store. So this one's gonna be with physical sky from the outside. So let me just ask ArchiCAD to start rendering. It's gonna take a while, so in this while I'm gonna just like go ahead and see what are, or what were the configuration that we just seen when we were doing the preview, and how they could be different from the ones that we just applied here in the interior view physical or the interior view HDMI medium, both of them actually. So let's go ahead. In the preview, when I did the preview here, preview fast, if you look at those settings here, we're gonna go and see that light adjustment, we're gonna have sunlight, lamps, illuminated surfaces. Of course, we're gonna have three of them, those three, because we're gonna need every single source of light in order to illuminate our scene without letting it be to be washed out. We need the balance, and the balance here is going to be done using the lamps here. We're going to see how we're going to go and make this out, but I mean it's going to just like take a while. And we go to, I mean, in terms of like environment, physical sky, we're just seeing how they just switch it out between physical sky and HDRI. In the effects, we might use the color mapping. What is the color mapping? After we render, we might have like a perfect light. However, it's like a little bit dark, or a little bit, or maybe a lot more lighted up or washed out. Now, in order to make the balance between the light areas and the dark areas, we can just like increase or decrease the dark multipliers, so we can just make that balance or achieve that balance. In the global illumination, we're gonna see now that it's like only 2 diffuse depths. That means that the light's going to be jumped twice between for any like given point in the scene. And the primary intensity is going to be 100, meanwhile the secondary is going to be like 200. And then we're going to jump to the sampling. In the sampling, we can see here, I'm sorry. And then we're going to jump to the irradiance cache. In the irradiance cache, we're going to see like we're going to use Delani. Delani, it will be a little bit like grainy and have grain in it, and that's why I called this area preview. I did not call it like medium. In the medium, we're gonna see like we're gonna go for least square. We're not gonna go for Delani. Delani is like grainy because it's gonna be like much faster producing that level of the irradiance cache. And then I'm going to the record density. I just need a preview. If I can just like make a custom and make it like even more minus level, I'm not gonna stop doing that. However, I think this is good for like 3 or 4 minutes of producing preview, or a good preview for such as the one that we've just like seen, just like here in picture number 2. Okay, so back here, smoothing, there's like minimal smoothing. I can just like, if I can just like choose none, I would not hesitate doing so. Cache refinement, no cache refinement. And then we get to sampling. In the sampling, the stochastic samples were just like low, super low actually. If I can just like take them to be like none, I would not say, but I mean, we're gonna end up having no perfect image or no global illumination process is going to be produced there, because we're going to take none stochastic samples over here. No discrete area sampling, no discrete sky sampling, radiosity maps. I mean, I know that if I take this out, I can save myself a little bit of like saving. It's like it's going to be very tiny time. However, I may need like to produce more than one review. That is the only reason I just check the radiosity maps here, in order to just like may save me sometimes in future shots. And then in the detail, there's nothing to do. I know that I put just like 75% here. I can put 50. I can put like even it won't go beyond 50, but I mean it won't affect the time that we are just using or spending waiting for the renderer to be done. Okay, regarding the physical render and the physical camera, we just saw what we just did. In the physical render options, the sampling quality here was just low. There was not a lot like spending or making like very great samples in the global illumination. However, and here the shading error threshold, the one, if you remember, in the like in our past tutorial, we did not recommend for this to go like beyond 10 unless you are doing your final image. Now it's 80. That means there will be a lot of errors out there. For in the shadows and in the lights and the shadows on the surfaces is going to be grainy, it's going to be like distorted. So but I mean, it's going to be fast, which is what we are after, and that's why I call this fast. Okay, and then going to the options, well, I can take those out, like part of them I can take refraction or friction, but I mean, I will end up like having my test image or test render ended up in like 2 minutes instead of 4. However, it's going to be, I mean, I could not understand. I would not be able to understand what are the information that are there to just like to correct them afterwards, or like to correct, you know, how to go and where to go here and correct and what need to be corrected afterwards. So that's why I'm just left those all there, except for, I mean, reflection, limit floor reflection by floor sky. I don't need this at the moment, so that's why I just like take it out. You can take out like other things like subsurface scattering. We don't have this here, so it's not going to be rendered. What is subsurface scattering? Subsurface scattering is like, imagine you have like that flashlight and you put it in before your finger. Sometimes like, and it's like in the middle of your finger, it's going to be like having like that red color. But I mean, on the tips of your finger, while the light, of course, while you just put them on that flashlight, it's gonna be like turn into a little whitish or beigeish, or something like that. So that was what it's called like subsurface scattering. So you can just like take this out. However, I just put them on because I don't have at all a subsurface scattering at all, so it's not going to affect anything. That's my project. In anti-aliasing, it's not going to make a I just like change from sync to cubic, which is like a faster filter for the anti-aliasing process. So those are the issues that I just put. Meanwhile, when I just like selected now the interior views, physical sky, medium, now we're gonna see now like much difference in quality, much difference in the values that are here. Most of those values gonna reside here in global illumination. So here we have to look here, like the primary intensity is 100, meanwhile the secondary intensity is 200. Okay, and then if you go to the irradiance cache, we're gonna see here like we're gonna have least square as the interpolation method, which is going to be giving us like a very good quality here on those areas. And like what it's doing now, it's like it's making refinement. So those area of refinement is going to be like refined more and more and more again, using the least squares. Like you can see here, like it's being like minimizing those tiny squares here. Meanwhile here is not doing anything, at least at the moment. Those are the least squares that we are just like letting global illumination knows that we are seeking this level of interpolation method. And then we can go to record density. Now here I choose custom, and those custom I just like minimized those record. What does this one mean? And actually it's very important to understand. What we are talking about are those here. What we're telling here is like go ahead and see the light when the light, of course, like let's say it's gonna like hit here at this place. So the first thing, let's go to those three are the most important ones out there. In the density control, how dense those dots that we are just like seeing right now, and I'm trying to like point to how dense they are. So the more we can like increase the density, it's gonna be like we're gonna have more density, which is gonna mean like the finer the picture is gonna be, or the finer the transition between light and material is gonna be. And then we're gonna see like the minimum radius. The minimum radius is like the smaller those dots are going to be, that means the finer and the more quality that we're gonna obtain from this one here. And the less the radius, they're gonna be like, because we're gonna minimize the number of the radius here, or of those spots. We're gonna have like, you can increase the radius that they are affecting the light in, so that would actually gonna make it more and more and more finer and much better for us to do. And then we're gonna jump here to smoothing. In the smoothing, we're going to do like a medium here, not low or none as before. Cache refinement's not going to do anything at the moment with us. That's why I just like left it none. The time that I can consider using the cache refinement is like if I have like a very sophisticated non-simple with tons of objects here in our project. So at that time I will consider go ahead and choose something other than none, like low or whatever. And then we're getting back to sampling, stochastic samples. I just like increase the accuracy, okay, to 128. You could have up to 256, but I mean we don't want to go more than that to just like make our rendering time reasonable. I believe this one here, I've been like just speaking for 12 minutes since it's just started. I think it's gonna go ahead like and keep rendering for the next like 20 other minutes. So ended up with like 30, 35, or maybe more. I'm not sure. I know it's not a final, but I mean you can judge the quality when we're just like gonna be finished of doing that one here. So again, discrete area sampling, we can just like check those too. Sometimes I would say I would check it, but I mean, if I'm gonna check it, I'm gonna lose the name over here. So, I think I just checked it out in the final one here and here. This, I think, here in the at the high, both at the high, I think I just like got this activated and ready to go. Radiosity maps, please guys, do not forget to check this out all the time. Okay, whatever the type or like level of rendering that you are just using out there. So let's think I think those are the most important things. So let's wait and see. Okay, thanks God you didn't have to wait the same time that I've waited. Actually, it took like way more the time that I expected for this photo to be rendered off. However, at the same point, if you can look here, I mean, I can call this perfect lighting. I mean, the lighting comes out from the outside, which is the sunlight. I mean, it has the reflection over here. However, it's not, I mean, there's no way to be able to lit this area here. I mean, here, those area here, okay? And because, I mean, it will be able to lit until this area because this all is like included in the sun lights. However, that area from the ceiling has not been lit by the sun directly because there's no way to bounce the sun and like light all that area at the same time. However, what I've done in order to achieve that is that I have created those I don't know if you can see them here, those one here, which called the area lights. Area lights are one of the blessings of CineRender, so we can be able to add area lights. I mean, the purpose of area lights is just to light these areas where natural light, I mean like sunlight and illuminated areas cannot reach those areas. So we have to like put like I'm not gonna say a couple of them. I'm gonna say that we're gonna have to put as much as we needed. Look at the area here under this like a small table. I don't know what it is. I mean, I didn't put any of those area lights beneath it. Why? Because if it's gonna go up there, I mean, it's gonna show up like unnatural. So in order to know how I configured this uh, the area light, the the most important thing is that we have to know the um, the direction where it's gonna go and illuminate. Actually, I mean, usually it comes like pointing downwards. How could we know? We can see this like arrow which going on like going up right now at the moment, and then you will have to go and check all those settings here. Actually, we're gonna need just like this one here, the area shape. You can just like choose a lot of shapes that are just existing over here. You can see here, let me just bring it out to the as much as possible to the screen. We can now, yeah, I think we can now see them all. We can have rectangle, we can have disc, we can have cube, sphere, hemisphere, whatever, all those. I mean, according to what is the thing that you're like thinking to illuminate, and then you can like tell the object here is that the illumination angle is going to be no, not this one, I'm sorry, this is something else. This is like is how much the light is going to go like around this the object or the area light. So I mean, you can like just go more and more by using like a higher angle, like then 90 degrees by 103 or 130 or anything more than that. Um, and then model representation. Actually, we don't have anything to do here in this, I mean, at this specific light, but we might have like more tricks to play with like other lights, just like these. And I'm gonna talk about like later on when I'm gonna get to the materials and talk about them and explain all that together. So you can see here like those lights has played a lot of significant role of like making this the lighting here more subtle, and it's not like that overlit, or at least it not appeared like it's been like having a lot of lights like here in the sun when it comes to sun, because this is the reality. I mean, in real life, I mean, the sun has like to just like shed some amount of light. Here, that is not that much, and at least it's not gonna be gonna look like it's not lit at all at the same time. So so that's why I just used the area lights. And how I did the balance, you remember the word balance, I say like in the first tutorial and now in this one here. Actually, what I've done is I just played with those two values here. I mean, the sunlight, which has the light actually, is gonna it should not contend with this value here. So if I'm gonna go and upgrade this value much more, like 50 or 100 maybe, it's gonna affect this area significantly. It's gonna show up like it's very lit up, and we're gonna end up as like on a like overwashed or overlit area. Meanwhile, I mean, it looks here very realistic and very normal, comparing to like just regular light or just the sunlight, or like overlit by other subjects. Okay, we can now move to other types here. Like if you go to high, it's going to be much higher. If this I mean, if this camera here like would show like some grass over here, we can just go ahead and and use like instead of interior views physical medium, we're gonna choose like interior views like here with grass. Actually, I don't think I've done something with grass for the medium. You can just like choose that one here, apply it, and after applying that you can just like apply grass. But please, when you're gonna apply grass, don't let the grass cast shadows. It's gonna take like more time to be rendered out. And I mean, I don't think you're gonna like the way it's gonna appear there. So that's why I'm just like say left it the way it is. I'm gonna just close these. I'm not gonna need not gonna need that one as well. The previews, not that one here. Okay. So let me just get back a little bit here, or and then now some people would ask like, do we have like I mean, whatever, if you like to like put like a light source or real light source here or over there, up on the ceiling, and what are our options? Do we have to just stick to the regular light sources that we have here in ArchiCAD library, or do we have to just like go and pick up like special light sources in order to just like put them here in our plan? Actually, you can just like get regular ArchiCAD light sources. Let's say that I mean, I just like put here this regular ArchiCAD light source, which have this, which is like regular fluorescent lamp, and nothing fancy here to just to configure. It's just regular light settings and regular light parameters that we used to use. We know, I mean, forever. It's just there. So I'm gonna use that light. However, there is like a new light source here. Let me just like spread them here more precisely as much as I can. This light source here. Okay. Well, This light source is called the IES, or used to be called like earlier the photometric light source, because it has like more information about the regular light source. In order to understand that light source, I can just like, let's go to another area and create another camera here. Say that, okay, let's get back to our regular camera. It may be like better to understand what is the IES photo metric, or the IES light. So if we go here to this regular light library, we can find here that we have something called a spotlight. Okay, nothing fancy about that, nothing new. We can just like put it here. Okay, and what we're gonna end up having here is that we're gonna having like a spotlight. Let me just like take those lights away. It's gonna be much better to understand the IES lights when they are just alone. So let me move those guys somewhere else in the project. Just put them here away from the scene that we are just working on, and move that one here up to this like area here. Now we can see here, this point here is the light source of this spotlight. Here is like the starting circle of where the light is going to be like having its much intensity, and then it's going to fade up until it reaches this area here. So we can just like make this a little bit larger so it covers the whole area here. Sorry, and then we're going to move this one here, Control D. And we can increase the inner area as well. So if you need like to cover more area of light. However, let's gonna see and check the camera again and see how this light is gonna look like. So we're gonna here see that this is the most, or the furthest area that this light is gonna be able to affect. So let's go and extend this more and more. Okay, so it covers the most area, or the most available area here. I'm just trying to keep it here on this axis, so it barely touches the ground. And then I'm gonna increase the intensity here on this one, and let's take it much further. Okay, so I'm not gonna use the latest settings, the one for the medium settings for rendering. So what I'm going to do now is just go ahead and use the preview, one of the preview filters that I was just working on a little bit earlier. So let me, oh sorry, so I'm gonna stop the rendering here. I don't want this rendering to start. I don't want to save that one here. So let me just get the rendering settings. I'm gonna call the scenes that I have here. Actually, I need the preview and fast. So let's go and render and see what are our options on this light over here. Okay, so I'll start here, and if you notice, you can find that this is the area that have the light. I mean, the effect of the light is just like casting light in this area here in this circle. However, we are not able to see what's going on in the. I mean, there's like those walls are still like dimmed, and they are like. They are, seems like they are never affected with that light that is like a spotlight in somewhere here. So this is actually an issue, and it's not real. So if we want to make that more realistic, we're gonna have lights that can cast light. It's a spotlight actually. That are gonna cast light into like more than one direction. In order to do that, we have to first go and download the light. So let me close that one first here. Now let's go and check for the those downloads or for those kind of lights. So let me take that out. I mean, we can go ahead and see the properties here and see what they are all about. However, it's just like the what I was just talking about. It's like the inner circle and the outer circle, and how we can just adjust that circle to cover as much area of the light as we can have. But I mean, again, it's not realistic, and that's why I'm not gonna go and configure that kind of lights. So let's go and check something more realistic, something more I mean more real lights that we can like configure and represents like, or can just give our scene more subtle effects when we are gonna deal with it. So let's go and see this light. But I mean, before we can see that light, I mean, I can just go now and see the effects or like the properties of this light, and see that this light is like IES photometric light. But where I get this light from, how I get it into the library, and how it's represented into ArchiCAD, this is something that we have to discuss more actually. So let's go to like a website that have these lights available. It's called Lithonia. Okay, so let's look for Lithonia. In this website, where we were gonna find a lot of like light manufacturers, the light types, but I mean, all of those lights have the common thing that they are just like IES lights. For me, I'm gonna go for decorative indoor and outdoor, and then decorative indoors, where we can just find like things that we can just like install indoors at houses, not industrial stuff and other stuff like we can find at the malls and all the other markets and stores. So for me, I'm gonna go for this T8 or T12 here. I mean, I don't have like that much of interest in getting into all the information. If you do, just go ahead and check the specification sheet, and you can see what this light is all about. For me, it just resembles regular fluorescent light, so that I may just install there. That I mean, so it resembles the ArchiCAD object that I'm going to having lights with. So I'm gonna go to photometric data, and then check here this file here, and then I'm gonna ask for download at this link here. So I'm gonna just download it, and then after downloading this object, I will move it into the project here, so I can just paste it and then cut again and put it here in the library. Okay, so of course this is the one that I downloaded earlier, and this is the new one that I just got over the internet. So let's get back to ArchiCAD and check on the first we have to update the library via library manager. So I'm gonna just refresh all the contents that we have here in the library, and then let's go to the lamps tool again, this time to IES lights, and then photometric file data. We're gonna find now that the light we just installed, I mean the new one, I think this one here, I'm not sure if this one or that one, but I mean we're going to find that it's there for us, it's just ready for us. Let me just check, did I select anything here? No. So this is the new lights. I can just check with the name of that light here. It should be like 2UC. So let's get back to ArchiCAD and check on the IES lights. and then you see this is the new one that we just got. You can here like just put the light distance and whatever the other things that you might be interested in. Nothing to worry about. However, just to be recommended, we can just like use the intensity given in photometric file, which is going to be better, because in this way we are going to resemble this light as is. I mean, if we are talking about like making things more realistic and more like real, so we can just give the real value for this light, and then somewhere else, well, we're gonna see how. I think you figured it out. We are going to increase the intensity of this light. Of course, not in this area. We're going to increase the whole intensity of the whole lights, or the whole lamp lights in the excuse me, in the photo rendering settings here in this area. So we can increase it like from, say, from 35 over up to, like, we're gonna start with 50, and then we're gonna check out how it's gonna go from this point on. However, we just want to make sure that we are still on the preview and then fast, so this is okay. But I mean, the regular value here is like 35 again, so we're gonna crank this up to 50, and then we are going to do the render. However, before we can do the render, because we still need to get this in, and more than that, we have to select all those guys over here and make sure that they are of the type that I just added, because they are still on the one before. We can just put them here on this one, and just let me make sure that it's all okay. Okay, and use area shape glaze. Okay. Alright, so let's go and move those all together. So I'm gonna just drag them to this area. Okay, say here. And then let me just get back to my camera and see how things are going to look like. We can increase this one, the intensity of the light until like it comes to this area. Okay, so this is how it's gonna look like over here. Let's go ahead and do another render. Okay, using those settings, we'll check on you when the render is done. Well, it did work. However, we can just like see those like tiny lights over here. So I mean, I don't think we get what we're looking for exactly. So let's do some increase, to the light value. So let me just like select, excuse me, let me just go ahead and go to the render settings and increase the lamp's intensity here. So instead of like 50, let's go for 100. Oh, sorry. So it's a 100. And let's do another test render. Before we do the test render, I can just go and check here this lamp. Okay, and go to the properties and just make sure that it's turned off. That like there's no light that is coming from that lamp, because the source light that we're gonna take off is it's going to be those IES or the photometric lights. So let's again do the photo rendering. The photo rendering shortcut here is like Control Alt P. P is stands for photo render. So let's wait and see. Alright, now we can see like we got here an improvement. Of course, not gonna be perfect until we can do like the last and final rendering. But In other words, this is the way how can we just like do it. And you can tell here that there's like a more illumination that is caused by that lamp, in addition to one other lamp that is like outside of the project, which is the infinite light here. I think ArchiCAD or CineRender is treating this one here as a lamp. How can we know? Actually, we can just like play with those values here and see like if I increase the sunlight and this one here like have like more lights here, so that means it's, I mean, this is like treated as sun. I don't think so. If we like minimize the lamps, I think this one is gonna be minimized in general or like consequently. So I think it's going to be affected, or it's treated by CineRender as lamp light. So again, those are like the most important issues in the when it comes to dealing with lighting and with render settings. I'm gonna just exit those two guys here, and then I would say like I have like a couple notes here. Let's say that we need those settings. I mean, the one here, Control Alt R. We need those actually to be used in our work here, like those here in MN rendering settings. We can just like export those guys by just like pointing this folder here, and then we would go to OneDrive and ArchiCAD stuff and put it over there. And when we are done, or like supposedly we are now working on another computer, we can just put import, and then we can go to OneDrive, document, ArchiCAD stuff, and we can find them all over here, and we can just like open them, and they are just here. I don't need them. I have them just here in that folder, so I'm gonna just delete them and work with those that I'm having right now. So nothing to worry about at the moment. I believe that until this point, I was able to explain, I mean, lighting in a nutshell, not without like getting more into details, in addition to the render settings, so we can just like work with internal and external renderings. I mean, I believe it's gonna be like easy. I don't think it was like something hard or like something that really needs to be thinking about a lot and do a lot of research. I'm not gonna say don't do a research. Go ahead and do as much research as you can. However, I just tried to make it as simple as I can. I just noticed something here that we can just play with the sun settings. We can go to Control Shift F3 and then play. I would let the sun goes more into the scene. So I'm gonna decrease the sun altitude from 50 up into 35 degrees, and I can just like play with this one here with the azimuth. So I'm gonna just say this one is gonna be a 285 even. So let's see how it's gonna that affect our scene. You can see here like the sun is like going more. I can just like even go further than that and put it as like 30, and the sun will be going more into the scene and illuminating the scene even more. So we'll see you in the next video, where I'm gonna talk about the materials, which is going to be the last thing I need to talk about in order for due diligence for this video. So see you there.